Okay, so here is what has happened up to this point. I took a photo, I dragged it into this little PS icon down here, and it created a document for me, okay, or opened the photo. Then what I used is I used my pen tool, which is what I would prefer for all of you to use. I'm not saying it's an absolute like requirement, but I do want you guys to use and practice that tool just a little bit. Okay, with that being said, you draw around and it creates your selection. Now, as long as you're on your pen tool, right? What you can do is you can control, or you can right click directly on that line, and it'll change what the little icon looks like. Excuse me, we were on the pen tool. Okay, so that turns into a black arrow. I'm going to click on it, and you'll see make selection. If for some reason that is not there, your other option is to go over here into your layers panel and find where it says paths, and you can click on that. And once you have that, just make sure this is selected and it looks like what you drew. And then down towards the bottom, you'll see a little, if you hover over it, says load path as selection. Looks like a dotted circle. And you can just click on that and it will do exactly the same thing. Okay, so now you have this selection. Okay, I'm gonna go back to layers. And what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna create a new layer. So that's that tiny little plus sign down at the bottom. All right, so now that I have my new layer, great. I want to fill that, so I'm gonna find my paint bucket. Your paint bucket could possibly be under your gradient tool. The shortcut is the letter G. So find your paint bucket. You want black, and then you're just going to fill. And what you should have is you still have the photo underneath, but you now have that layer above it. Okay, so at this point in time, you have a couple of decisions. One, we can go ahead and deselect this. That's fine. But you can continue to work directly on here if you want to maintain this background. Or last class, what we did is we should have and let me get rid of some stuff here really quick. We created this blank document. Okay, so again, you can either work directly here, or you can go ahead and take that move tool and you can take that drawing and you can bring it. I'm not letting go of my mouse, I'm just holding it and dragging it, and as soon as it gets here, I'll drop it in. Okay, so it's absolutely humongous, so I'm going to zoom out. This bounding box is here because I have, on my move tool, I have auto select layer turned on with that check mark right there. So I'm just going to come in now and I'm going to resize this a bit. Okay, let's see where I want it. So I kind of like it like that, like right about there where it's just really filling that space. And I'm just going to hit that check mark, and I can click away from it. Okay, I can also zoom back in, so that's Command plus. All right, so at this point, it's ready to go. Now, you should have at least 10 images that you're gonna basically put onto here. How I'm gonna do this, I'm just gonna take it and I'm gonna drag and drop it directly on here. So with this, I can kind of move it around, like where do I wanna put it? How do I wanna resize this? You know, all of that, that's happening right now. Maybe this is too large. Okay. But either way, I'm going to hit, just either the enter key or this check mark, and that'll kind of like lock it in there. All right, so what you'll see now is you'll see a layer, right? So there's your other layer. Now, what I'm going to do is whenever we have a layer, we have this option where we can adjust what's called the blend mode. The blend mode is this right here. It's what says normal. So I'm going to click on that. And as you scroll through, it will show you a preview of what each one looks like. So notice how that one, everything just went behind everything that was black. Obviously, that's not a good choice. All of these kind of do the same. Now, if we go here, notice how it's starting to stay where I want it. Now, depending on the photo, it could give you a different kind of reaction. So please make sure you test them out to see if it's what you want. Okay, I'm going to go with that one. Okay, so once I'm on this, then what I'm going to do is all these hard edges, I don't want any of those. You have to fix that. Okay, the edges from the silhouette, totally fine, but no edges that just kind of cut off like in the middle of body parts. So to fix that, I'm going to add what's called a layer mask. So I'm going to click on that. Then what I'm going to do is I'm going to grab my brush tool, and a mask, which is this, a layer mask, you can only use black and white. So black will take stuff away, whereas white will bring it back. And it's how we edit non-destructively, okay? Can you use an eraser for the same thing? Yes, but you can't always undo it down the line. This way you can. All right, so for this, I'm going to adjust my brush size. You know, I like my bracket keys, so my right and left bracket key to adjust that size. Then I'll come up here, make sure my hardness is at 0 because I like a softer brush. Your call on that again. I always leave opacity at 100%, but I usually drop my flow pretty low. Okay, again, that's personal preference. To me, the lower the number, the more control you have. And then I'll just kind of come in here, and all of these edges, right, I can kind of like figure out how I want that to look. Now let's just say I screw up and I like do something like this. Okay, and I don't notice it, right? Now with this type of editing, all I have to do is switch to white and I can bring that back, right? Super easy. But if I had done it with an eraser and I didn't notice it right away, or I kind of flipped, I just did too many mouse clicks, it'll only let me go back so far. So you gotta be, that's why this is so much nicer than that. At all, so we'll get rid of all that. Okay, so that is your job, is to kind of like see how you can make this look as nice as you possibly can, you know, but you have to fit 10 photos on here, so you're gonna be playing around with this a little bit, but that's the general idea. You drag the photo in, you adjust the blend mode. For most photos you'll be able to adjust the blend mode. Otherwise you will have to use this mask to kind of clean things up and make it all work. Okay, that's it for this. Good luck to all of you.